Think about the last time you talked yourself into listing soon. You're scrolling comps. You're texting an agent. You're doing the normal math in your head. Sale price minus mortgage payoff equals your next down payment. Then you open your HOA portal. There it is. The monthly dues number that didn't feel like a big deal when you bought. And now it's sitting next to your mortgage like a second payment. Worse? You hear the hallway rumors. The insurance renewal was brutal. They're talking about the roof. There might be an assessment. Now the pricing gets weird. Buyers ask, "What's the HOA?" and their tone changes. Lenders and agents start circling the fee like it's a red flag. Your reasonable list price suddenly feels expensive once someone turns it into a monthly payment, and you're stuck in emotional whiplash. You followed the rules. You bought in a nice community. You paid on time. So why does your own neighborhood fee feel like it's trapping your next move? Here's the twist. It's not just higher costs. It's a system dynamic that quietly reshapes affordability and resale demand over time. That moment you just recognized, buyers hesitating the second they hear your HOA, has a real mechanism underneath it. HOA living isn't just a fee. It's a variable housing cost that can rise, and it changes how your home competes in the market. Here's what most people don't realize. A lot of buyers don't shop by price. They shop by monthly payment and risk. And HOA dues are part of that monthly payment in the way lenders look at you. HOA fees are included in debt-to-income ratio, DTI, meaning the percentage of your gross monthly income that goes to monthly debt payments. That's not opinion. That's literally how mortgages get qualified. Housing costs include things like principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and HOA dues. So when your HOA climbs, your buyer pool shrinks. Then the second punch lands. Special assessments. A special assessment is a one-time bill the HOA charges owners when reserves, your association's savings account for big repairs, aren't enough. It can show up fast, with short deadlines, and buyers hate it because it's unpredictable. And this is why it becomes a trap. Dues creep up year after year. Boards try to keep them reasonable. Reserves fall behind. Then maintenance or insurance forces a catch-up. That creates either big jumps in dues or a lump sum assessment. To a buyer comparing you to a similar home with no HOA, your home isn't competing on list price anymore. It's competing on total monthly cost and perceived stability, and it goes deeper than that. Once you see HOA fees as a shared bill, the increases stop feeling random and start feeling inevitable. Your HOA dues are basically the community's operating budget divided across owners. Insurance on the building or neighborhood, utilities for common areas, vendor contracts, maintenance on aging roofs and parking lots, staffing, management fees. When any of those go up, your dues follow. And the governance reality matters. Boards get pressured to keep dues low, which often means reserves don't keep up, and the eventual fix is higher dues later. Insurance is a perfect example because it can spike even when your own unit didn't change at all. According to a Federal Reserve note using TREP data, multifamily property insurance costs were about 75% higher in 2024 than in 2019. That kind of jump doesn't get absorbed by good intentions. It gets passed straight through to you as higher dues because the HOA still has to keep the place insured. Now put yourself in a buyer's seat. Take someone like Marcus, 32, trying to buy his first place. He's comparing two similar listings. Your home looks fine on price. But your HOA has a history of creeping up, and buyers know it's not capped by their mortgage. It's a permanent monthly obligation that can change. Let me be clear about something. Even if your dues rise, only a few % a year, buyers price in the uncertainty. They don't just ask, "What is it today?" They quietly ask, "What will it be when I'm stuck here?" And once you understand the monthly spiral, you're ready for the scarier part. When the HOA skips the monthly increase and goes straight for a lump sum bill. Then there's the charge that doesn't care what you budgeted. The special assessment. A special assessment is a lump sum bill the HOA sends when the reserve fund isn't enough to cover a major expense. Think roofs, siding, elevators, plumbing, waterproofing, structural repairs, or a sudden insurance requirement. The HOA approves it through board votes or owner votes depending on the governing documents, and it's billed per unit or by an allocation formula like square footage. Translation. You can do nothing wrong and still owe a massive check, and this isn't hypothetical. NBC6 South Florida reported condo owners at 1060 Brickell were hit with a $21 million special assessment, with unit owners paying anywhere from $30,000 to $110,000 per unit. That's not a little extra. That's a car. That's a down payment. That's a year of childcare. Now bring it back to your sale. Even if you think, I'll sell before the bill hits, buyers aren't blind. They read disclosures. They ask for meeting minutes. Their lender can ask questions too. And once the words, pending assessment, or underfunded reserves, show up, your deal gets fragile. You end up in a brutal set of choices. Drain emergency savings, take a loan to pay it, or price your home lower to compensate for the risk. And if you're already trying to escape to your next place, that assessment can quietly steal the cash you needed to move. Here's the twist. The worst damage isn't always the bill itself. It's what the bill does to financing and demand, because that's where your buyer pool starts disappearing. You now see how the HOA turns from a convenience into a rising obligation. Next, you'll see the part nobody warns you about: how lenders and buyers treat HOA risk, and how that forces price cuts. And here's where it stops being annoying and starts becoming a resale problem, because the market doesn't just look at your list price. It filters you through two gates: affordability and financeability. HOA dues hit both. They raise the monthly obligation, and they add a layer of uncertainty that buyers and lenders treat like risk. The lender piece is the quiet killer. For condo projects, Fannie Mae's selling guide tells lenders to review the HOA budget and confirm replacement reserves are funded at least 10% of the association's annual budgeted assessment income, or use an acceptable reserve study instead. If the budget looks thin or the project has red flags, buyers who need conventional financing can get blocked. Not, they don't want your home. They literally can't get the loan. Now picture a normal buyer. Call her Tasha. She's approved. She loves your unit. Then her lender asks for the condo questionnaire, budget, and reserves info. The documents show low reserves, deferred maintenance language, or constant, we'll deal with it later. Suddenly the lender wants more conditions, or says no. What happens next? Your buyer pool shrinks to cash buyers, investors, or people willing to jump through hoops. That's fewer offers, more days on market, and buyers who remain negotiate harder because they know you have fewer options. Even if financing is technically possible, buyers still anchor on monthly payment. A $400 to $600 HOA can make your home feel like a higher-priced home than the comps with no HOA. So you're not competing with similar list prices. You're competing with similar monthly costs and lower risk alternatives. So what do you do with that reality? Without getting blindsided at the worst possible time, here's exactly what to do. Not vibes. A simple control plan. Step 1. Run the true monthly cost test. Mortgage plus taxes plus insurance plus HOA. Then add a buffer for the HOA rising, assume 5 to 10% per year unless the documents clearly show stability. Compare that total to non-HOA alternatives in your area. That's your real competition. Step 2. Pull the documents that buyers and lenders will pull. Current budget. Last 2 years of financials. Reserve study. Current reserve balance versus the study's recommendation. Delinquency rate. Insurance summary. Last 6 to 12 months of meeting minutes. You're not looking for perfection. You're looking for deferred, postponed, unfunded, special assessment, loan, insurance non-renewal. Step 3. Use a reserve red flag filter. No reserve study, an outdated one, or chronically underfunded reserves. Treat it as higher assessment risk. Price accordingly. Don't argue with it. Step 4. If you're selling, preempt the objection. If reserves are strong, say it clearly and show it. If a project is looming, choose A. Pay it and market, assessment paid, or B. Offer a clean, upfront credit and price it so deals don't die in escrow. Step 5. If you're buying, set personal rules. Max HOA as a % of your housing payment, no purchase without minutes, reserves, and be suspicious of too low dues. If this helped, the next video you'll want is how to read HOA meeting minutes like an investigator, without legal jargon. Subscribe if you want more of the system mechanics homeowners aren't taught. And drop your HOA fee, and whether it's rising or assessments are being hinted at, no shame, just intel.